Kelsey. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm wearing one of my fancy booktube hats, and today I am here with a tag video. This is the Library Lovers tag. It was originally created by the channel Pie and Books a number of years ago. It's been around for a while, and I was recently tagged by Rachel from Colonnati, so I will link her video as well as the original down below. There are 7 questions in this tag all about your library usage, so this is going to be a little bit of an interesting discussion. The first question is, how often do you visit your local library? So I want to say right up front that my local library system is very, very large. My local library branch, the one that is right between my apartment and my subway station, just like a 5-minute walk away, it is itty bitty tiny wincy. So I walk past my neighborhood library branch on the regular. I don't tend to casually drop in much. I mostly go in if I have holds to pick up. But that said, I put things on hold at my library quite a lot. But it tends to be sporadic when I put a lot of holds on things and like when they come in, so I can't say like I go in once a week or I go in thrice a month or something. I would say I probably end up going in more than thrice a month. I go in whenever I have things on hold to check out, sometimes when I have things to return, but not always. My library branch does have a drop-off slot on the outside of the building, so I don't actually have to go in to return books unless I'm feeling particularly sociable and the library is open. Number 2, are you the type of person who checks out more books than you know you can read, or are you someone who checks out the exact amount of books you intend on reading before they are due? I am someone, neither of the above. I think I am someone who checks out a lot of books without holds lists on them and renews them a heck of a lot of times. My library system allows for, I think, 10 renewals before you have to return them if there aren't holds on things. And I definitely make good use of that generous limit. I tend to have about 10 unread books out from the library at any given time. I try to keep it under 10, but like right now I'm over 10. And most of those things I probably will read before returning them. Some of them are things I may end up returning and then checking out again later when it's a better time. Some of them are things that I've had to return in the past unread, and then I've checked them out again because I still want to read them. You may know, because I've talked about this before, the times when I do return things unread and not check them back out again tend to be when I've checked something out because there was a group read for it, because it was nominated for something like the BookTube SFF Awards, which the reading periods for those just happened, and I checked out a couple. You may be aware that I ended up not reading and decided to return unread. I have another book out right now that was a past group read for the Lady Vaults book club that I didn't get to during the month that was being read, so I'm probably going to return that unread as well. So things that I checked out for specific reading events and challenges and readathons and didn't get to, I will absolutely return unread. Other things I have out right now include like some new releases I was anticipating, some sequels and books in series where I want to have them on hand to remind myself that I want to continue with that series sooner rather than later. Some graphic novels in case I hit a tough spot with my reading and need something lighter to get me out of it. That sort of thing. Did I actually answer the question? Sure, I'm gonna say I answered the question. I'm going to move on to number 3. Number 3, how old were you when you got your first library card? My answer to this is pretty much the same as I remember Rachel's being when I watched her video, which is I don't remember. Whatever age it is when you stop using your parents' library card and get your own, who knows. I was trying to think what library system that even would have been for me. I grew up in the Seattle area. The beginning of my life, my family lived in Seattle proper, and then when I was in 2nd grade, we moved out to the suburbs, and Seattle proper has a separate library system from the rest of King County. So I know that when I was a small child, my family would have been visiting Seattle public library branches. But I am pretty certain that my first library card in my own name was a King County library system card. So that would put it at 2nd grade or thereafter. And I think that is still the same King County library system card that I still have, and I've kept it active by like occasionally checking out an ebook with that card. I did get my own Seattle Public Library card when I was in high school. I went to a high school in Seattle, and that allowed me to get a Seattle Public Library card. But I have let that one expire, and I've been unable to reactivate it. It's gone forever because I no longer have any valid claim to a Seattle address or school or anything. Number 4, do you go to your library looking for a particular book, or do you check out anything that piques your interest? Because my library branch is itsy bitsy, I don't do much browsing there. Mostly I go looking for things that have caught my interest online. I search for them in the online catalog. I place holds. That said, my library branch, despite being very small, does have a very good YA selection, and YA is a genre that I'm more likely to want to get from the library as opposed to purchasing those books. And so I will sometimes check out books on a whim from the YA section. That's definitely a thing I've been known to do. Number 5, do you use your library to check out just books, or do you also check out DVDs, audiobooks, etc.? Definitely DVDs. I check out movies, TV shows from the library. Yes, that's something I do frequently. I will sometimes browse the DVD section at my library, but more often those are things, again, that I put holds on online. Number 6, from what section of your library do you check out the majority of your books? YA, middle grade, adult, nonfiction, etc. So I did mention YA before. I am, you may be aware, mostly an adult SFF reader with a significant amount of YA and middle grade mixed in. I'd say that what I check out from the library, though, tends to skew a little more towards YA, because I'm more likely to want to purchase the adult books that I'm particularly interested in. YA for me is not necessarily as much worth the shelf space because those tend to less often be books I want to refer back to or reread. Also, with all of like the hype that surrounds specifically like YA fantasy new releases, I find it's often more worthwhile to get those things from a library because they can be very hit and miss. The hype and popularity surrounding YA books often interests me enough to make me want to give them a try, but not necessarily to buy them. The other thing that I tend to get from the library and not purchase is graphic novels because they are physically large, and very expensive, so I don't purchase graphic novels very often. And those are also things that I tend to put impulse holds on more often, where I'll just like hear about something in someone's video and say, oh, that sounds cool, and see if it's available at my library and put a hold on it, because those are things that I can more often squeeze in as impulse reads than bigger novels. And the last question, number 7, is what is your favorite part of using your local library? And that is a hard one for me. As I've mentioned, right now my relationship with using my library is mostly that I just go in to pick up holds. Lately, I've really appreciated that my library branch has started offering like printouts of the daily New York Times crossword puzzle right up at the front checkout counter, which is fun. I haven't done crossword puzzles in a long time, and I'm discovering that I'm terrible at them. But I wouldn't say that's a favorite thing about visiting the library, is my new discovery that I'm terrible at crosswords. When I've lived in other neighborhoods of the city in the past, and especially when I was in college and using the library for like research as opposed to fun, my relationship with the library was very different, and I appreciated different things about it. In the past, I've also lived near or spent more time near larger branches that were places I could go to like actually hang out and spend time, and like when I was in college, work on homework. That's not quite so much my relationship with my current library branch. The biggest circulating branch of the New York Public Library system is the Mid-Manhattan branch, which is right like kitty corner from the big Schwartzman building research library with the lions. That for a long time was one of those places where like when I was stranded in Midtown, I could like just go in there and hang out. But that branch has been undergoing a much needed major renovation for the past 2 years and has been closed. So I have to go to Barnes & Noble when I'm stranded in Midtown now. But I imagine when that library branch reopens, I think sometime next year, I will enjoy spending time there, reading, working on stuff, as just like a place to spend time. My itty bitty library branch is also getting relocated at some point to a new location just like a couple minutes walk down the road from where it is now, that is going to be bigger. So I think I will spend more time there when that opens, and I am not certain what the timeline on that project is. But that's just going to be really nice for my neighborhood in general. But what is my favorite part of using my local library? The way I'm using it right now, it really just has to be free books. It's a floof cat tail. Do you think the tail is attached to a floof cat? Is the tail attached to a floof cat? Yeah, it is. So that is the end of the library lovers tag. I do want to tag people, but because this is an older tag, I'm going to have to do some digging to figure out who of the people I know look like they've done it and who looks like they haven't done it. So if I find people to tag, I'll tag them in the description and also on Twitter. Let me know if you use your local library and what you think. I'm very aware that I'm extremely fortunate to have a very good library system. I know that not all the people who watch my videos necessarily have access to such great libraries where they live, but let me know if you do, and if so, what types of books you like to check out from your library as opposed to purchase for yourself. Anyhow, I hope you're having a nice day. That is all. Bye for now.